We are joined now by Alex Newman for the Newman Report. Alex, welcome aboard. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me, Duke.
Well, we got another big story here. California, right? I mean, we spend a lot of time in California, metaphorically. And here we are again talking about California because they don't want to teach. They don't want to teach if they don't have to teach. The San Diego teachers would rather teach unvaccinated refugee kids than your actual public school kids. But since they're going to sooner or later have to go back to school, they want to make sure when your kids come back to school, they are mass vaccinated for COVID, even on the campuses. Talk about what the plan is in California.
Yeah, thank you, Duke. And this has kind of turned into a mini scandal in Orange County all the way up into Los Angeles. A video came out of Dr. Chow. He is the top health official for Orange County. And actually, we can air that clip. It's really creepy. People can see for themselves what he's saying.
But for children after 2 doses, it's 100%. The reason why I'm stressing that is we're going to need your support to really educate our kids and our parents that they have to accept the vaccine. Because I feel very strongly that without the vaccine, we have no way out of this pandemic.
All right, so you saw it yourselves, right? This health director is bound and determined to get the kids vaccinated. They're offering the Pfizer vaccine to 16-year-olds. And so this big scandal came out. Parents and even some human rights attorneys were under the impression that they were going to be doing this by force without parental consent. Now, Dr. Chow has kind of walked it back a little bit and said, oh, we're not going to force it. We're going to give parental consent and all the rest of it. But this became a big scandal. The school superintendent for Orange County was involved. Up in L.A. County, they're turning the schools into what they call point of distribution, mass vaccination center sites where kids 16 and up will be able to get these shots. And so people are really upset about this, Duke, and a lot of people went and made their voices heard at the school board meeting.
No, it's a big deal that they're pushing back that way. And we shouldn't be surprised, right, that the schools have long behaved towards, particularly in California, behaved toward parents as if they were the parents and not the parents, right? Well, let me ask you a question. It's a little bit of a non sequitur, I suppose. But why it's great. It's heartening to see moms and dads concerned about what they're putting in their kids' bodies. We don't want our kids to have this vaccine forced upon them. But where is the same commitment to the garbage that's being put in the collective psyches of these kids? What they're being shown, the sex they're having to grapple with, all of the anti-white racism that they're being exposed to. I assume California parents realize that in the final analysis, the warping of a mind is much more a dangerous thing than the warping of a body. Where is the outrage, the commensurate outrage?
Yeah, it's a very good point, Duke. And one of the things, when you go to the Orange County Health Department's website, they've got this whole section on transgenderism and homosexuality for children, where they're encouraging children to believe that there's infinite genders and that they can, mutilate their bodies and take a bunch of hormones to become a new gender. Mind you, all this behind the backs of the parents. California has been a pioneer in going around parents, behind the backs of parents, and helping children to get transgender hormones, transgender treatments, so-called, and all the rest of it. And that's the principle. Right? If the school can go behind the parents' back to help your child become a new gender, whatever the heck that's supposed to mean, why in the world shouldn't they also be deciding, how and when and where and so on the child is going to be vaccinated or inoculated against some disease or another? So the principle is established. The brains of these children are being rotted out with propaganda. And increasingly, parents are just a sideshow. And when we come back from the break on the other side, I do want to show a clip of this incredible human rights attorney, Dr. I think her name is Lee Dundas. And she just takes these people to task for usurping these powers over kids and for violating state and federal and international law. It's really phenomenal to see parents waking up. But you're right, Duke. The fact that we have gotten to this point without just an outright rebellion by parents is really a tragedy.
Back with Alex Newman, the Newman Report. We've been talking about what's going on in California, where they're doing everything they can to sort of force kids to be vaccinated on high school campuses when they come back. They're beginning to transform schools into vaccination sites. Now, enough moms and dads got angry that they started to pull back a little bit, but you mentioned a absolute firebrand. I believe her name is Lee Dundas. She's a human rights attorney. Talk a little bit about her, and then we'll lead into a video clip that you have.
Yeah, so she was one of the concerned parents that just went absolutely ballistic over this, and I got chills down my spine hearing her talk to the board, and she brought up, the principle of informed consent, right? Going clear back to World War II and the nasty experiments that Joseph Mengele was doing. It's been an established principle of law around the world that you do not subject people to experimental, unapproved treatments or experiments without informed consent. That means everybody needs to be made aware of the potential risks, the potential benefits, and of course that's not happening here. And so she argues that this what's happening is a violation of these principles. She also highlighted, interestingly, the emergency use authorization. So under federal statutes and regulations, the COVID shot is not actually approved by the FDA. A lot of people don't realize that because you're not hearing that on the news, but it was never approved by the FDA. What it did get was something called emergency use authorization. So if there's no other treatment, and a lot of people, doctors have said hydroxychloroquine is a treatment, ivermectin. So I encourage people to look into those things. But if there is no known treatment, then people can use experimental drugs. However, under no circumstances, under the laws governing these things, can those be forced on anybody or mandated. In fact, you better check your life insurance policy. There's some real questions about whether if you take an experimental, unapproved drug, that'll pay out. But what she said is they have no authority to force these on the kids. And man, she vowed to retaliate if they proceeded with this. So let's show a little clip from that, and people can see what the officials there in California and Orange County heard.
Lee Dundas, human rights attorney. Late last week, I am informed a meeting occurred between Orange County Health Officer Dr. Clayton Shao and Orange County Board of Education Superintendent Al Maharas, during which time they apparently tried to find a way to, quote, sidestep and entirely remove informed parental consent for the COVID vaccine and also turn Orange County school campuses into vaccination centers. The COVID-19 vaccine is an experimental medical protocol authorized under the Emergency Use Authorization Act, and as such, you cannot mandate it for anyone, nor can you sidestep informed consent. There is a reason that kids cannot smoke, drive, drink, have sex, vote, or die for this country. And it is because the law says they lack the capacity to understand those decisions. And that applies here more than ever.
All right, that was pretty remarkable. Is it typical, though, when we see people talking to school boards, they sit there stone-faced, they say nothing, and after it's over, she steps down? Was there any response from the school board? Did any sense at all that they heard her, or was this one more condescending, say your piece, honey, and hit the road?
Yeah, I think that this speech and others, right? There was a lot of parents who were just absolutely furious. I think that really caused alarm in the local leadership there in Orange County and even across the state of California. It does seem like, and I mentioned earlier on the before we went to break, Dr. Chow kind of, well, these are rumors. We're not going to do that. Don't worry. We're not going to sidestep parents. So I think that really put the fear of God in them, and they realized, oh, okay, I guess we can't just do whatever we feel like it. And I get the sense that this is brewing all across California. They're talking now about recalling the governor in Shasta County. They're talking about recalling all their commissioners. People in California are really getting upset, and I think Americans, especially liberty-minded Americans, may be surprised to see some of what's going to be coming out of California in the weeks and months ahead. I think these people have been pushed to the absolute brink, and like we just saw this attorney Dundas, people are just, they're ready to explode. They're tired of this stuff, and I think it should be a warning to California officials. You cannot just run over these people like they're slaves or zombies or just subject to your every whim. People are going to resist.
Imagine how much pushback we would achieve as a nation if 1 in every 50 public school moms did this. 1 in every 50 public school dads showed up at their local school board meeting and raised holy hell. This would, you can see, even in a place like California, where they really don't, in their minds, they really don't care about parental rights. How much you can push these people back on their heels if you just get the turnout. We've said this from the beginning. This is a battle that the American people can still win if they're willing to fight it. But you gotta fight it.
That's exactly right. And now's the time to get involved, folks. Once you go too far down this road, there's no coming back. So get involved now. Get off the couch. Get your children out of these indoctrination centers and get to work before the whole country and our liberties go down the drain.
You think you've seen it all. Wait till you see what school looks like under the new fear and loathing curriculum, I call it, where they can actually lock you down. Alex Newman, The Newman Report. Thanks for your time today.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Most of you know our show is being censored by big tech.
While this makes it harder to meet the cost of producing the show, that's part of it. It also demonstrates that we must be having tremendous success, or they wouldn't bother to try to shut us down.
If you like hearing truth and common sense with a love for freedom, please join the Patriot Club with a one-time $99 tax-deductible donation. And you'll get this sweet vessel of joy as part of a thank you for joining the Patriot Club.
Etched with the American flag and the words freedom never tasted so good.
All you have to do is visit patriotclub.us and become a Patriot member today.
That's patriotclub.us. Thank you and God bless.